The Lord does not need lies to open doors for his children, and heaven does not use confusion to deliver favor. When a message enters your life through panic, pressure, and emotional manipulation, wisdom demands that you slow down and test the spirit behind it. Some voices speak to your faith, but others speak to your fantasy. Some promises are born from divine purpose, while others are designed to exploit human weakness. So the deeper issue is not whether $60 million is hidden in your name. The deeper issue is why your soul reacts so quickly when wealth is dangled before your eyes. Are you being led by discernment or by desire? Are you hearing a call from God, or are you chasing a voice that knows how to flatter your hunger? What kind of message owns your attention so quickly, and why? Let us go deeper, because headlines like this do not survive on information alone. They survive on emotion. They know people are tired, burdened, overlooked, underpaid, and desperate for sudden turn in life. They know some are praying for debt relief, some are weeping over bills, some are carrying family responsibilities, and some are secretly asking God for one breakthrough that could change everything. So the manipulative message arrives wearing the costume of hope. It pretends to understand your pain while secretly trying to profit from your vulnerability. It says, hurry. It says, before it's too late. It says, this secret belongs to you. But the language of fear is often the fingerprint of deception. God may call you urgently, but he does not confuse you into obedience. He may move swiftly, but he does not need fraud to release provision. The enemy of the soul has always been comfortable using half-truths, exaggeration, and spectacle. Because if he cannot destroy you through suffering, he may try to distract you through illusion. A person who is not alert can mistake emotional stimulation for spiritual confirmation. So ask yourself, when promises come wrapped in urgency, why do you feel pressure instead of peace? Why does panic so often masquerade as opportunity? And have you learned the difference between a divine opening and a manipulative bait? There's also power in the use of a famous name. When the message says, Elon Musk says, it is borrowing authority. It is leaning on public recognition to make the unbelievable feel believable. This is how deception often works. It borrows the face of influence so it can bypass the gate of wisdom. Many people do not pause to verify whether the statement is real, because the name itself becomes a shortcut to trust. But a recognizable name is not the same as a reliable word. A famous person can be misquoted, imitated, digitally manipulated, or used as a mask by those who know the crowd responds faster to celebrity than to evidence. In behalf of God, let the people understand that discernment is not suspicion of everything. It is a discipline of testing what enters your mind. Truth does not fear examination. Truth can survive questions. Truth can stand in the light. If a message collapses the moment you verify it, then perhaps it was never a message meant to guide you, but a snare meant to capture you. So what have you accepted in life merely because it came wearing a powerful name? How often have you trusted appearance over proof? And have you allowed the prestige of a person to replace the process of discernment God expects from you? Now let us confront the phrase, hidden in your name. Why is that wording so powerful? Because it speaks to identity. It tells you that your value has a secret vault attached to it, that your name itself is a key, that something massive belongs to you and has been concealed from you. It is emotionally brilliant, because human beings long to believe that their ordinary life hides an extraordinary destiny. We want to think the pain was worth it because a grand reward is waiting. We want to believe our obscurity is temporary and our name carries treasure the world has not yet discovered. But this is where spiritual maturity matters. Your name does have value, but not because it contains secret money. Your name has value because God knows it. Your identity matters not because some digital claim says you are owed millions, but because heaven formed you with intention. The enemy can take a holy longing, the desire to matter, the desire to be seen, the desire to receive, and twist it into a baited hook. He turns purpose into fantasy, calling into craving, and destiny into greed. So when you hear that something unbelievable is hidden in your name, do you run first to excitement or to prayer? Do you want to be chosen by wealth more than you want to be known by truth? And what is your identity really plainly about greed? Because many people hate the word, yet few are willing to examine it in themselves. Greed is not only the love of money in the obvious sense, it is the impatience that wants gain without process, reward without labor, harvest without seed, and elevation without formation. Greed whispers, maybe this is your shortcut. Greed says, take it now, ask questions later. Greed loves secret access because secret access feels superior to ordinary faithfulness. But God has never been embarrassed by process. He builds character before visibility, wisdom before increase, stewardship before abundance. When a soul is unprepared, sudden access can become sudden ruin. That is why every promise of instant riches should make you examine not only the offer, but also the appetite it awakens in you. If your heart becomes reckless of the possibility of gain, then even a false offer has already revealed a real weakness. In behalf of God, this is not condemnation. This is mercy. Better to discover the greed in your heart before someone else learns how to use it against you. So if somebody promised you wealth by secret claim, easy click, or hidden entitlement, would you be honest enough to admit how tempting it feels? What shortcuts have appealed to you lately? And is your hunger for provision still submitted to the character of God? But this matter is not only about money. It is about spiritual warfare in the age of distraction. We live in a world where deception is fast, polished, emotional, and algorithmic. It knows how to find your weakness. It knows whether you respond to fear, loneliness, outrage, pride, or financial pressure. It knows how to put temptation in the language you understand best. For some people, the bait is romance. For others, it is influence. For others, it is healing, status, revenge, or secret knowledge. And for many, it is money presented as overdue destiny. The devil does not always appear as terror. Sometimes he appears as convenience. He does not always shout rebellion. Sometimes he whispers entitlement. He does not always attack by taking away. Sometimes he attacks by offering too much too quickly. That is why believers must not only pray hard, but think clearly. A prayerless person is vulnerable, but so is a thoughtless person. God gave you spirit, conscience, and mind. He expects you to use all three. So what pattern keeps showing up in your life disguised as blessing but producing confusion? What temptations consistently know how to speak your emotional language? And have you mistaken digital stimulation for spiritual direction? There is another painful truth we must not ignore. Some people fall for such claims not because they are foolish, but because they are exhausted. Exhaustion lowers resistance. Pain clouds judgment. Long disappointment weakens a wall of discernment. A mother worried about rent, a father burdened by debt, a student drowning in uncertainty, an elderly person fearing lack, a worker living paycheck to paycheck. These are not merely gullible people. These are often wounded people. And manipulative systems feed on wounded people. In behalf of God, let us replace mockery with compassion while still defending truth. People do not always need ridicule. They need restoration of judgment, healing of desperation, and the courage to pause before reacting. If life has beaten you down long enough, even an absurd promise can begin to sound merciful. That is why communities of faith must teach not just prayer for miracles, but also wisdom for survival. We must help people recognize that not every open door is from God, and not every urgent message deserves a response. So when was the last time fatigue shaped your choices more than faith did? Are you making decisions from peace or from pressure? And if your soul is tired, who is helping you discern before you click, trust, send, or believe? Now let us bring the matter before God with seriousness. In behalf of God, we must say this: the Lord is not against increase, provision, or abundance, but he is absolutely against falsehood ruling the hearts of his people. God can bless. God can surprise. God can open doors nobody can shut. But divine provision does not require you to surrender your integrity, silence your wisdom, or bow to deception. Heaven's blessings do not need counterfeit drama to appear real. The God who fed Elijah, sustained the widow, delivered Israel, and clothed the lilies is not limited by your bank account, but neither is he honored when his children confuse scams with signs. Faith is not believing every claim. Faith is trusting God enough to reject lies even when lies promise fast relief. That is a mature word. Sometimes holiness looks like saying no to the thing you most desperately wanted to be true. Sometimes obedience looks like walking away from what could have been exciting because peace is absent and wisdom is sounding the alarm. So do you want blessing more than truth, or truth more than blessing? If God denied you a false shortcut today, would you still call him good? And can you trust his process even when the counter psychology of urgency in that phrase? Claim it before it's too late. Urgency is the enemy of examination. When someone wants you to hurry, they often want to outrun your discernment. They do not want you to check the source, consult wise counsel, read the details, or pray with a settled mind. They want a reaction, not a revelation. They want your impulse, not your insight. This is why agency is such a common weapon in manipulative communication. It creates an artificial crisis so you will feel that delay equals loss. But wisdom understands a powerful principle. What is truly from God does not become false because you examined it. What is truly yours in God will not disappear because you pause to verify. The kingdom of God is not so fragile that truth expires when you take time to think. Counterfeit systems hate patience because patience exposes them. Stillness embarrasses manipulation. Verification kills many lives before they ever mature into damage. So the next time something screams, now, 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 perhaps the holiest thing you can do is stop. Who benefits when you are not allowed to think? What opportunities in your life had demanded speed but resisted scrutiny? And are you willing to believe that sometimes delay is not disobedience but protection? There is also a moral lesson about stewardship hidden inside this entire conversation. If a person cannot steward information, how will that person steward wealth? If someone forwards every dramatic claim, believes every flashy promise, and reacts without truth, then the issue is not merely financial need. The issue is governance of the inner life. Stewardship begins before money arrives. It begins with how you handle words, emotions, decisions, and impulses. A careless mind can turn even a real blessing into chaos. That is why God often trains his people in discernment long before increase. Wealth without wisdom multiplies danger. Access without character magnifies damage. Opportunity without discipline becomes leakage. So perhaps one of the hidden mercies in resisting false promises is that resistance itself forms you. It teaches you patience, self-command, sobriety, caution, and mature dependence on God. Those qualities are not glamorous, but they protect destiny more than excitement ever will. So if great increase truly came into your hands today, would your inner life be prepared to carry it? Are you training your mind to govern blessings, or only fantasizing about receiving them? And what kind of steward are you becoming before the door you desire even opens? Now let us deal with the phrase "in behalf of God," because invoking God's name in a message like this requires reverence. To speak in behalf of God is not a decorative style. It is a serious responsibility. It means we must honor truth, expose darkness, protect the vulnerable, and call people back to holy thinking. God is not a sponsor of sensationalism. He is not a silent partner in deception. He is light, and in him there is no darkness at all. So if we are going to speak spiritually about such a claim, we must do so in a way that reveals character, not confusion. We must tell the audience that God values their soul above their appetite, their conscience above their curiosity, and their obedience above their excitement. The Holy Voice does not merely ask, "Can I get this?" It also asks, "What spirit is behind this? What fruit will this produce? What door could this open? Who am I becoming if I keep responding this way?" That is mature spirituality. So when you hear God's name near a message of urgency and hidden riches, do you become more careful or less? Do you use God's name to sanctify your desires, or do you allow God's truth to judge your desires? And are you honoring the holiness of His name in the choices you make online and in private? Consider also how this kind of message reveals a modern hunger for rescue without repentance. Many want relief, but not reflection. Many want deliverance from pressure, but not discipline in private life. Many want abundance, but do not want to confront habits that keep them unstable. Yet God often works deeper than our immediate cravings. He does not merely ask what you want out of life. He asks what must change within you. If a person is constantly vulnerable to false claims, then perhaps heaven is not only trying to provide for them, but also trying to mature them. The miracle is not always a sudden transfer of money. Sometimes a miracle is a birth of discernment in a once impulsive person. Sometimes a breakthrough is not external wealth but internal clarity. Sometimes the answered prayer is the strength to say, "No, I will not be manipulated anymore." That kind of transformation may not trend, but it can save a life, a family, a future, and a testimony. So what if your greatest need is not a hidden fortune but a renewed mind? What if the real treasure is wisdom that keeps you from destruction? Are you willing to let God change your inner world instead of only asking Him to change your message into a warning trumpet for the audience? If you ever receive claims of hidden money, secret entitlements, miracle payouts, celebrity-linked rewards, or urgent opportunities that demand immediate action, do not let excitement outrun verification. Pause. Check the source. Search for proof. Ask wise people. Refuse secrecy. Never let shame keep you from seeking counsel. Deception grows in isolation. Lies become bold when victims stay silent. There is no embarrassment in asking, "Is this real?" There is only wisdom in refusing to walk blindly. And if you discover that it is false, do not only protect yourself, help protect others. Warn the elderly, teach the young, inform the desperate, strengthen the vulnerable. The devil loves unguarded generations, but truth can become a shield when it is shared with compassion. In behalf of God, truth is not merely for personal survival, it is also for communal protection. So when you learn something that can save another person from harm, do you share it? Are you part of the problem by forwarding what you never verified? And could your voice become someone else's protection if you chose responsibility over excitement? There is a deeply personal side to this as well, because every false promise forces a confrontation with what lives hidden inside us. Some people will discover fear there. Some will discover greed. Some will discover unresolved pain from years of lack. Some will discover envy when they imagine others becoming rich while they struggle. Some will discover that they are angry with God for taking too long, which makes counterfeit hope feel more attractive than patient faith. This is why even a misleading message can become a mirror. It exposes not only the liar, but also the longing. And if you are brave, you can let that exposure become the beginning of healing. Bring your hunger to God. Bring your disappointment to God. Bring your financial worries, your envy, your secret fantasies, your wounded expectations, and your panic to God. He can handle truth from your mouth better than you can handle lies in your mind. Real freedom begins where honest surrender starts. So what did this kind of message awaken inside you when you first heard it? Was it hope, panic, greed, pain, bitterness, or desperation? And what would happen if you took that reaction seriously enough to lay it before God in truth? Here is the deeper gospel-shaped lesson. Your life does not need a counterfeit miracle to become meaningful. You do not need a lie attached to a famous name to prove that your future matters. You do not need digital bait to confirm your worth. If God has called you, then your value was settled before the headline found you. If God is with you, then provision may come through wake, wisdom, favor, community, healing, opportunity, discipline, and doors you did not expect. But it will never require you to abandon truth. The enemy's offers are always loud because they are empty. God's faithfulness is often quieter, but it endures. Lies sparkle and fade. Truth may walk slower, but it stands. So do not measure God's love by the speed of your breakthrough. Do not assume delay means abandonment. Do not call every glittering offer a blessing simply because you are tired of waiting. Heaven's timing is not cruelty. Often it is preparation. So are you willing to believe that a slower true path is better than a faster false one? Do you still trust God when provision comes through process instead of spectacle? And can your heart remain steady even when counterfeit promises look more exciting than faithful obedience? And now let this script close like a sober call from the altar of truth. If someone tells you that a vast fortune is hidden in your name, and you must rush to claim it, remember that the greatest things hidden in your life are not always dollars but decisions, not always wealth but wisdom, not always access but accountability, not always sudden elevation but sacred discernment. In behalf of God, choose truth over thrill, process over panic, prayer over impulse, verification over fantasy, and character over craving. Let your soul become too disciplined to be purchased by excitement and too rooted in God to be steered by manipulation. If there's any hidden treasure with your name on it, let it first be a hidden strength, a hidden maturity, a hidden obedience, a hidden reverence, a hidden clarity that no deception can penetrate. Then, whether wealth comes quickly, slowly, or differently than you imagined, you will remain a person whom money cannot corrupt and lies cannot easily move. So, audience, what have you been too eager to believe? What voice has been shaping your reactions lately? What part of your heart still needs healing before it becomes bait for deception? And when the next urgent promise appears before your eyes, will you respond as prey, or as a person grounded in truth before God?